Hey everybody, Steve at Benford Guitars here. Just wanted to show you a quick video on how I'm locating my fingerboards onto my necks to keep everything aligned when I'm gluing stuff up. I've got a nice ebony fingerboard with flame maple binding and some abalone inlays here, and I'm going to be gluing it up to my neck. So what I used to do is I would clamp this fingerboard in place exactly where I want it, and then around the first fret, sometimes the second fret, and then one of the higher frets, I drill a really tiny hole right through the fret slot all the way down into the neck. So then when I pulled it out, I could take one of these little metal, I don't know what they are, tacks of some sort, wall tacks, and when I put my glue on, I would shove these in there and it would line the neck up right where I had it, or where I wanted it, I guess you'd say, and then I'd clamp it all up. And this created a couple problems for me, even though it solved a whole bunch. Keeping things aligned was a lot easier, but one, when I'd have a pin sticking up here, I'd have to try to clamp around that. I couldn't put a big clamp right across here. I'd have to kind of clamp on either side. Not a huge deal, but still kind of a pain to plan that out. Two, sometimes it was hard to pull them out, so I epoxy my fingerboards on. So what would happen is when it dried, then I would just pull that pin out. What would happen is sometimes the pressure of the glue would squeeze out into the fret, and then I have to try to clean the fret slot out. That didn't always happen, but it happened enough that it was annoying. And it usually happened when I had binding on there, so it was really hard to clean out. The third issue that I was having is sometimes when I clamp it up, the fingerboard would actually bow this way or this way, and so the fingerboard, I'm going to exaggerate, had a big curve in it like that. And so you'd have to try to relocate it if you noticed it, and it was just a kind of a nightmare. So what I've been doing lately is on my, this is my neck and fingerboard template. Basically what happens is when I'm making the fretboards, they get double stick tape down to this, and then I run this along the router and trim it to size. Well, I drilled holes in 3 different places in here. These are 1/8" holes. So when I have my fretboard on here, I can, while it's double stick tape on, I'll flip it over and drill 3 holes into the bottom of the fretboard. So these are going to be locating holes. So then the next step from there is when I'm making my neck, this will go on my neck blank. So this is the cutoff piece of my neck blank. So this will get maybe put on there like that, and I'll rough trim it out and then run it on the router, and while it's still stuck on here, I'll drill my same 3 holes in the right spot. And so these will exactly match up to my fingerboard. So when that happens, then I've got holes in my neck blank. So here's my neck blank. It's a 3-piece neck blank, mahogany, flame maple mahogany with some black stringers in it. My holes are here, and they get little 1/8" dowels put in that are just above the surface of the neck there. So then what happens is, when I'm ready to glue up, I spread my glue around there. Of course, I got to remember to put the truss rod in, right? That'd be helpful. Throw the truss rod in. This gets covered up so no epoxy gets down in there, with just a little bit of tape. So then the epoxy's on there, and then I can just kind of move this around, bam, 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 and slap it right on there, and it doesn't go anywhere. Okay? So right now the fingerboard's a little bit curved because it's just been sitting out, but once it gets clamped on there, it's not moving. And so that solved a bunch of problems for me. 1, it got rid of my side-to-side motion. 2, it gave me a full clamping surface to make sure I got even pressure all the way down that. 3, I got no squeeze out in the fret slots. So this has been working out really well, and it's just one of those things where I should have been doing it for years, but you know, this system seemed to be working fine, and this one was a little bit little bit more time consuming to set up and figure out where I wanted the slots, and a little bit more nerve-wracking as you're drilling through this side to make sure I don't come busting through there and have some weird hole that I didn't want. And two, going too deep here, so if I carve the neck, it doesn't, all of a sudden I don't have a dowel sticking through there. So I've got those issues just worked out, and that was pretty easy. But yeah, this is going to be actually pretty cool. Before I glue this on, I'm going to put a black veneer on here, so we'll mimic our contrast lines that we have coming here and on the side of the guitar here. I was going to cover this up with a maple veneer, but looking at it, it looks pretty cool like that. And plus on, let me move this out of the way, plus on the body, which is a single cut, you know, kind of quilt top body, I have this bevel on the side of it that breaks through into the mahogany. So I have this maple contrast veneer mahogany going like that. And if I do that, slap that sucker on there, this kind of ties in with that. So I'm gonna have to confer with the customer and see what he thinks. I really like it like that, but I wouldn't think I would, but I'm coming around. So that's my quick tip for doing that. If you're going to be doing a lot of these, it's great just to set up jigs like this, so it just makes life so much easier. But even if you're just doing one, it's worth it just taking the extra time to punch those holes in there to make sure everything comes out perfectly straight, because we don't want a fretboard that's on crazy, right? All right, well, thanks again. Feel free to leave me any comments or questions, and we'll see you guys next time.